good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming out here today to hear about a very important initiative. I've had three really important objectives, daily objectives, since I took office, and that was to make our city a city of great learning, lifelong learning, and even healthier city. By that, we mean physical health, mental health, environmental health, and an even more compassionate city. And this project that we're announcing here today supports all three of those community values. When you think about how our society has progressed in talking about issues around substance misuse, addiction, suicide, we're making progress. Most rooms I go into, when I talk about those issues and I ask if anybody has not been affected by those issues, everybody kind of shakes their head. And that's certainly the case true with suicide. And there's probably no greater individual tragedy or no more painful blow to a community when we hear about a suicide and the effects that that has on the family and loved ones of the person that took their life. Is just, a gut-wrenching feeling where you ask yourself, if you're involved with that person, is there anything I could have done? Or did I see signs of that before, and could I have intervened? And that is a lonely, hollow feeling. Unfortunately, according to the Center for Disease Control's, suicide rates are on the increase. Unfortunately, our city has a higher suicide rate than many cities our size. So it would be unacceptable for us to just stand by and do nothing about it. Obviously, we'd love to live in a city and in a world where there was zero suicides. And as a compassionate city, it's incumbent upon us to take action. And that's why I'm extremely pleased today to say that the Louisville Health Advisory Board has come together to design and implement a community-wide, evidence-based, data-driven program to eliminate suicides in our city. Our Health Advisory Board is a cross-section of community organization and leaders working to improve physical, mental, and social well-being for the people of Louisville. Fortunately, it's co-chaired by the very capable Chief Health Strategist for the City of Louisville, Dr. Sarah Moyer. You'll be hearing more about that in a moment. Thank you, Dr. Moyer. And her colleague and Chief of Community Building, Vincent James, is with us here today. Thank you, Chief, for that. When you think about public discussion of suicide just recently in the past couple months with the suicides of Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, you've seen suicide discussion on the front page of many newspapers and TV broadcasts, et cetera. But the reality is that yes, they might have high profiles as people, and their deaths are obviously regrettable, but this happens thousands of times across our country as well. And what's the story behind each and every one of those? We have to be cognizant of the fact that when we're discussing suicide, that these conversations can be very uncomfortable. They can be very awkward for people. So I think part of our responsibility is socializing discussions around difficult issues like this so that we can do more to identify what the issues are. So if we can intervene, we can do that. So today we're announcing a way for all of us to be equipped and more confident and more comfortable to broach this extremely difficult subject with someone in need and offer them hope and offer them help so that we can get back on a path to a nice, productive, and joyful life. We're making this announcement right now because the week of September 9th to 15th is National Suicide Prevention Week. In our city, we're going to go for it. We're going to attempt to set a world record that week by getting as many people as possible trained in a suicide prevention technique called QPR. And QPR stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. So similar to CPR, think about QPR that way. QPR is a 90-minute training course designed to support an emergency response to someone that's in crisis, and it can save lives. From September 9th to 15th, there will be training events facilitated all across our community, in community centers, colleges, churches, places of worship. Metro government will be performing training in this very room right here. Anybody can take the training. Please visit QPRLOU, so QPRLOU.com, to see locations across the city where you can be trained. And please sign up. And please talk to friends and family members to say, let's go take this together. This could obviously save lives for our community. Now, I predict that it will. They could be someone that you love and that you know. It could be somebody that you might just encounter on the street. The truth is that their parents, brothers, sisters, children, and friends who will spend the rest of their lives wishing they had seen the signs, wishing they had known that they could do something. This training can make that difference. With the QPR training, we can all get a better sense of what to look for and not feel so lost when you're dealing with a situation that just doesn't feel right to you, but you just don't know what to do. And we can show the world by our community response that we believe in coming together any time that we can to lift each other up, our definition of compassion. So to get another perspective of this, I'd like to ask Dr. Val Slayton to say a few words. Dr. Slayton is the Regional VP of Health Services for Humana, and he'll tell us more about the initiative and the work going on to make Louisville a zero-suicide city. Dr. Slayton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak this morning. I'm here today as a member of the Louisville Health Advisory Board Behavioral Health Committee. And as Mr. Mayor indicated, the Louisville Health Advisory Board is a cross-sector group of about 70 different organizations within Louisville that are trying to work together to improve community health. A number of priorities were established, including the behavioral health issues, and the Behavioral Health Committee identified zero suicide as our goal for the work of that committee. Zero suicide is built upon a patient safety framework, and the concept is that any suicide that exists may be related to an opportunity to stop that suicide not being recognized. And an important part of being able to stop suicide is by having individuals understand what to look for and then how to intervene. Louisville ranks 11th out of peer cities for rates of suicide, and the rate for Louisville had increased from the prior reporting period. Nationally, suicide rates have also been increasing. And so in 2016, the Louisville Health Advisory Board Behavioral Health Committee held the Bold Moves Against Suicide Summit in November of 2016. The committee spent 2017 working with a variety of community organizations for them to build their own zero suicide efforts, and then in 2018 established the goal to train a record number of individuals in QPR, question, persuade, refer. So Louisville is going to be conducting this training, and our goal is to have individuals complete that training and become gatekeepers. And a gatekeeper is someone who's able to recognize the warning signs of suicide, someone who knows how to offer hope to the individual, and then knows how to actually help that individual find further help, to understand what the referral sources are. And we understand that for many individuals, they're not familiar with how to do this, and there may be some degree of personal discomfort. But what we're hoping to do is to have individuals understand how to initiate that conversation, how to be an active listener, and then to work with someone to better understand what they're thinking or feeling, and then to be able to offer them help. We have a website, qprlou.com, so qprlou.com, and on that site you'll be able to find some background around the effort, and also links to about 84 different community-based training sessions. Those will occur throughout National Suicide Prevention Week, September 9th through September 15th. In addition to those public sessions, there'll be about 50 different organizational sessions as well. So we're hoping to provide an ample opportunity for all interested individuals to be able to find a training that's optimal for them. The training itself is free. We've decided that we did not want cost to be any factor, and it's really designed for anyone over the age of 18. Most importantly, an individual does not need to have any healthcare background in order to go through the QPR training. It's designed for the general public. And the nice thing about QPR is that the skills that individuals learn in that session can be helpful for anyone who's a member of the general public, but also for those folks who are involved with healthcare or clinical activities. There's no technical language that's utilized. It's really meant to be a very accessible and available resource. The sessions are designed to be 90 minutes each, and we're striving to have 35 individuals in each of those classes in order to have a maximal impact. For further information, as I mentioned, qprlou.com, and we also have an email address louisvillezerosuicide@gmail.com. So we encourage individuals to visit the website and think about talking with your friends, your families, your networks, and let people know about the training, and perhaps groups will decide to actually go to the training together. So we want this to be an important part of community building. I'd like now to introduce Dr. David Hanna. David is the Behavioral Health Program Manager for Passport Health Plan.
Good morning. I'm a clinical psychologist by training, and all my career I have worked with people who have struggled with suicide. And it is a huge problem. Nationally, it's the 10th leading cause of death, and as has already been said, among young people and middle-aged people, it's a much higher rank as a cause of death, and those numbers are increasing. Compared to national numbers, Kentucky ranks 16th as for having people per 100,000 die by suicide. In 2017, there were 776 individuals in Kentucky who took their own life. And here in Louisville, we are ahead of 39 out of 50 other cities in terms of our rates being higher for suicide. We rank 11th compared to peer cities. These are really sobering statistics, but I think the thing that I would want to say this morning, that embedded in them, there is also reason for hope, because suicide is a preventable form of death. And what we're talking about today is designed to save lives. Research and clinical experience has repeatedly demonstrated that individuals who take their own lives are doing it not because they want to die, but because of the pain they feel or the sense that their problems are insoluble. And that's where QPR comes in. Despite the widespread attention that the media has given to celebrity deaths, many people remain uncomfortable in talking about the topic when they're concerned about people that they personally know. Training people in QPR, question, persuade, and refer is a way to give hundreds of individuals in our community the skills they need to recognize the warning signs of suicide, to talk to at-risk individuals about suicide, and to connect people contemplating suicide with the help they need. Many years ago, while I was living in an apartment, I had a neighbor who shot himself in the chest. He was trying to kill himself, and he just missed his heart. I was the first person on the scene and fortunately was able to summon help that saved his life. But the thing that impressed me most about that experience was how much that young man, who only moments before had thought he wanted to die, wanted to live. He would have done anything to take back the decision that he had made. As a clinical psychologist, I know the difference that sympathetic intervention makes. And we're excited to participate in this initiative. We're going to train hundreds of our own staff at Passport, and we're providing trainers to this effort by the Humana Foundation and the Louisville Health Advisory Board and this whole community to build a safety net that will save lives. And I'm really glad to be a part of it. And now I'd like to introduce Michelle Jones, who's the founder and director of the Pete Foundation.
Good morning. I'm a proud member of this committee, and I'm honored to work on this cause, this worthy cause. But I would like to share a little bit about my story and my brother Pete's story. So Pete was a native Louisvillian, just like myself and our other siblings. He was actually an identical twin. And the three of us, me and the twins, were really close in age, and so we were kind of best friends from the beginning. We were very close. And Pete was an amazing person. He was funny, he liked to laugh a lot, he could crack jokes, but he was smart, and he was so kind and selfless and genuine. And he he graduated from college with a 4.0 in mechanical engineering, and he was such a hard worker. He was a percussionist, and he played here in the Louisville Youth Orchestra. He loved basketball, and when he graduated from college, he moved back to Louisville, and he decided to go to U of L to pursue a master's degree. But after his first semester there, he began struggling with depression, and he stopped going to class, and he stopped going to class, and he just became kind of isolated from his friends and family, and not knowing anything about warning signs of suicide or how to deal with mental illness. All we could do was kind of let him know that we love him and supported him, and kind of wait for this phase to end. But unfortunately, he ended up taking his life a year after that, when he was 23. And suicide, even though Pete expressed hopelessness and kind of showed some warning signs, I had no idea. Suicide never crossed my mind. It was never in the realm of possibilities. It just wasn't something that happened to my family or anybody that I knew. And next to the unbearable heartbreak of losing my brother, Pete, was the shock that we lost him to suicide. And then that turned into sheer astonishment when I realized how prevalent suicide is as a cause of death right here in our own city and how serious it is. And so that's what led my family and I to establish the Pete Foundation. It's a nonprofit designed to proactively prevent suicides and other manifestations of mental health issues by raising awareness about it and eliminating the stigma and telling people that suicide is real and mental illness is real and it can take lives. And we cannot just keep losing innocent lives to suicide because we find ourselves in situations in which we don't know what to do. And so I can't urge everyone enough to be aware about suicide and sign up for this 90-minute QPR training, because we really need to equip ourselves with the tools necessary to understand suicide, to recognize the warning signs, and to know what to do with those warning signs once we see them. So I can't urge everyone enough to sign up for the QPR training. It can save lives. So don't wait until it's too late, because I wish that I hadn't. Thank you.
Michelle, thank you for inspiring all of us. That's tough, I know that. Thank you. I really appreciate Barbara Sexton-Smith joining us here today with the Metro Council. So the Councilwoman's going to say a few words on behalf of the Council.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Fisher. And it truly is an honor and a humbling experience to get to serve in District 4 in the Louisville Metro Council and to serve under the great leadership of Mayor Fisher. He has been living these three components of lifelong learning, health, and compassion ever since he first started leading our great city. And as we think about today, there aren't many subjects that are much more serious than the subject we're having today, because to make the decision to take one's own life, that has got to be the ultimate decision of all. And as I think about it, what can each and every one of us do in that incredible moment of hopelessness? Because I can only imagine in the seconds before, as one asks oneself, is there any hope left? And is there any help out there? And then in a moment later, those loved ones and those friends find themselves very connected, sharing the same sense for a different reason of hopelessness and helplessness. In my very small family, we have stared down on 5 different occasions, 5 different family members suffering from this. We still don't understand it. Fortunately, we're all still here in my family together. So I'm going to join everyone here. Everyone on this stage are solution seekers. They've identified a very serious problem, a problem that is more serious than homicides in our community, if you can only imagine that. There are many more suicides in Jefferson County than there are homicides on any given year. And LMPD has done a great job reducing the homicide rate. Now it's our time to come together and get as many people as we possibly know to sign up for 90 short minutes of QPR. Question, persuade, and refer. Think about it. I can remember my dad would go fishing and he would catch a fish and he would decide if the fish was a keeper or not. As I think about the acronym QPR, if I may, sir, every life matters. Every life is a keeper. So let's band together and sign up during National Suicide Prevention Week. And I ask that everyone on the Metro Council and everyone's constituents all across Jefferson County and the region, please sign up and take this course, because your life matters and the life of your friends and family matters as well. So Mayor Fisher, thank you so much for leading this effort.
Thank you, Councilwoman. In closing here, I want to thank the Louisville Health Advisory Board. When we got together around our bold goal initiatives just a couple years ago, there were some areas where we said we can really come together and pull the whole community together on matters of health. And so this QPR initiative is a great example of what happens when you bring us together cross-sectionally as a city to say we're going to make a difference on this. So when you live in any place, there's going to be problems and there's going to be challenges. So I think the measure of a community is then how you come together and say, let's do something about this. So that's what QPR is all about. We all now are aware of an opportunity that we have to help a loved one that's in crisis. So please, anybody here in Louisville, take 90 minutes of one day and equip yourself to know the warning signs of suicide and how to talk to somebody to give them hope and connect them to resources. That's what QPR is all about. My team and I will be taking the QPR training. I encourage you to do it as well. So thanks everybody for coming out this morning. If there's any questions from the media on this particular topic, we're happy to take them.
Mayor, you talked about a world record. Do you know how many people that would be, or does anybody know what the record is?
To our knowledge, no community has done a widespread effort like this, and that there currently is no record. So we've contacted the Guinness Book. We're waiting for communication back from them. We'll be tracking the participants, and we're hoping that we establish the world record.
That's much like what we did with our proclaiming we set the world record for compassion. There wasn't one for that, and we're just waiting for somebody to challenge us. We feel like that's a good thing, and that would be a good thing with QPR training as well. If another community said, hold on a minute here, we've trained more or we're going to train more. So that's a real virtuous cycle here. Okay, thanks everybody for coming out this morning.